Reddit, what's your secret that can literally ruin your life if it came out? I accidentally killed 7 people. I put a rag into a new water heater exhaust to keep debris out and installed it in a rental. I get a call a week later, there's been an accident. I show up and there's a ton of and police. They ask me where the gas shutoff is, and I go down to shut the gas off and see the end of the rag I forgot sticking out of the top of the heater. Rip the rag out, shut the gas off and head upstairs only to be told all the tenants were dead. I drink all day now and sleep. It's killing me from the inside every single day, but if I say anything my family is ruined. We have a bunch of rental properties and we'd be shut down. I run a cake business. I charge people hundreds for wedding cakes. Every last one is made using Pillsbury cake mix I buy for $1 a box at Walmart. I suck at baking. Every time I've ever tried to make a cake from scratch it sucked. But baking is like my whole deal. My friends all call me the cake girl. It's like my whole life is a lie. People compliment my cakes all the time. Telling me how delicious they are. Telling me it's so much better than box mix cake. Telling me they could never bake a cake so delicious. Well, guess what? For $1, they too can make a cake just as delicious. Just add oil, eggs and water. In my defense, I love cake decorating. I make all of the frostings and fondant from scratch. I just hate baking fucking cakes. I base my prices mostly on the decoration of the cakes and not of the cake itself, if that makes sense. Still, no one knows about this except my husband. Even my best friends think I fucking slave over the oven mixing and baking these damn cakes. I've been doing this for years. If anyone knew, my business and reputation would be in the toilet for sure. Skeptical, I keep telling myself I have to learn how to make the damn cakes without the box mixes, but I never do it. I feel like such a sham sometimes. I once helped out a female friend's family by taking care of their cat for a week. Every day for a week, I would go over there and snoop around their house. I found my friend's diary, and proceeded to read the entire thing. I used this information to get her to like me, and she is currently my wife. There was a girl who I had a crush on the moment I saw her on my college campus. She ended up dating a douchebag dude a few weeks later. I happened to end up sitting in a study room with him and a few mutual friends. He talked about how he didn't think she was that attractive and how he liked other girls. I wrote the girl an anonymous email using one of those websites telling her about the things I heard and how the guy was a dick. She ended up breaking up with him after she found out he was cheating. The girl is now my girlfriend of 6 months. She has no idea, and is sitting across from me in the library. I've never told anyone this before. 2022 edit, we got married during the pandemic. Buried comment, but here goes. Not life ruining, but makes me feel like shit every time I think about it. As I've told Reddit before, I have a blind brother. When we were young, I used to get so frustrated at all the extra attention he received and how I had to be more responsible with my sibling than my peers. So, when my brother and I would go play, go to the store, or just generally go anywhere without adults, I would abandon him somewhere unfamiliar to him. Then, I would stand off quietly and watch the anxiety set in as he tried to figure out where he was and what was going on. Also, I was really intelligent as a child and knew that was my ticket to attention. When I would help my brother with his homework, I would teach him all the wrong answers, so that I could continue being the smarter sibling. Today, my brother is my best friend. He goes to college and lives by himself. He's become one of the most intelligent men I've ever met. I'm trying to make it up to him now by being the best big sister ever, but I still feel so guilty at how I found him to be a burden when I was a kid. Update. I immediately called my brother after posting this and caught him while he was walking to a study group. I told him about my guilt and he laughed. He understands how frustrating it must have been. He told me that all of the good things I have done as a sister completely overshadow anything bad I did and that he loves me more than anything. I'm glad I spoke with him, and I encourage others on here to talk to someone if they can. I came very, very close to committing a school shooting. I was picked on a lot in high school. I think it was because I tried so hard to be cool and everyone saw right through it. There were these 4 cowboy jock types that gave it to me the worst. After being publicly humiliated and beaten in front of a girl I liked, as she laughed/cheered, I decided that none of it was worth it anymore. I had no support at home, being an only child and having parents that worked constantly, and cutting and burning myself didn't make me feel better anymore. So I got my dad's handgun out of the gun safe. He uses the same combo for everything, the idiot, and brought it to school with me the next day. I can't adequately describe to you guys how ready I was to kill these 4. I had absolutely no fear or doubt in my mind. I wanted nothing more than to show everyone what happens when you push someone over the edge like they did. I had the gun tucked in my waistline. I was wearing this baggy pair of cargo shorts that I wore a couple times a week that day. I remember walking towards the Cowboys table, so goddamn ready for it to be over, when the gun fell out of my waistline, down my left short leg and made the loudest fucking sound as it hit the cafeteria floor. I tried my best to grab the gun real quick, but people saw what it was and screamed, and one of the instructors tackled me to the ground. They eventually concluded that I had brought the gun to school to impress people with badassery, and had no intention of using it. I was expelled and sent to live at a youth ranch in Idaho until I was 18. I did have the intention of using it though. I was going to kill all of them. I'm 24 now, and I still think about it all the time. I have not recovered from high school. I'm still terrified of people in general, and avoid having relationships because of what I fear I'm capable of. I'm not looking for pity. I know that what I did was wrong, it just feels good to tell the story. Well, it's more of a secret to my friends that I've made recently. Some background first, I don't like being touched or hugged, and I'm incredibly uncomfortable with intimacy in general. When I was in the 8th grade, a bunch of girls in my class convinced me they had a friend who fancied me. They said she had seen me somewhere and thought I was cute. Faked a MSN account and they talked to me every night for a few months, invited me out to the movies and, obviously, didn't show up, then revealed to the whole grade that I had been tricked into having an imaginary girlfriend. I was mocked viciously by everyone in the grade, and ever since then I can't really trust women. I also can't believe that a girl may have feelings for me. Even when they explicitly tell me they have feelings for me, I can't help but feel like they're trying to trick me. It's caused a lot of insecurity, and I can't get attached to people easily. I'm terribly afraid to text or message people first because I'm convinced I would be annoying them. What's worse is that when I think about it, I know it probably isn't true, but I can't help but feel like it is. Even though it was grade 8, it was around the time when attraction to women was just starting to get real, so to be hurt at a time as delicate as that has really done some damage. The secret, of course, is that I had been dumb enough to be tricked. As you might suspect, the whole thing has left me afraid of being vulnerable. To have this found out by my newer friends, as in, university friends, would put me in a really uncomfortable place. I probably wouldn't be able to be their friend anymore. Thanks for reading. You're the first people I've told about what this event has actually done to me. Edit. I know people still read this thread. So I felt I should come back and that I owed people an update. I've since met such a fantastic woman, someone who makes me incredibly happy. I love her very much, she loves me, and she's helping me get used to the idea of feeling valuable and trusting people, or at least one person. She's the best thing that's happened to me in a long time, maybe ever. I have been pretending to be colorblind to everyone I have ever known, including my own parents, since I was in 3rd grade. I am now 28 years old. I even convinced an optometrist of it. After graduating from high school, I went to a small out-of-state college where no one from high school knew me. I was told many times how impressive my false Australian accent was, so I decided it would be great fun to go through college pretending to be from Australia. All of my friends and even my girlfriend of 2 years think I'm Australian. I have a completely fake Australian identity, family, and past. I will soon be graduating, and I plan on asking the girl to marry me. Everything she knows about me is Australian. I don't know how to tell her she doesn't really know me. Guess I'm forever a bloke. When I was about 12, I went with some family to the Family Dollar. My mother and cousins went off to go look at generic groceries, so I decided I would just spend my time hanging out in the toy aisle. In the toy aisle there would always be these bags of marbles that other kids would open and leave laying there, so I decided to fling marbles across the floor, and one just happened to reach one of the far off aisles. So about 2 minutes later I hear a loud crash and someone screams, "Somebody help this man." Being the curious child I was, I ran over to see what the commotion was about, and I find everyone gathered around this guy who had seemed to have fallen from the ladder as he was getting something off the top shelf. The guy is seizing out and blood is coming from his head as he laid there, and his face seemed to be turning blue. My mother whisked me and my cousins away and we left. Next time we talked to the front cashier and she said that they called the paramedics, but by the time they got there he had died from choking. Apparently when he had the seizure he was choking on his own tongue. The cause for the fall, according to the front cashier, was that he had put the ladder on a marble and didn't check it before he got on it. When I heard what the cashier said, I just stood in disbelief, thinking I was going to jail. I tried telling my mother many times, but all she did was say that I imagined it. I faked having a chronic pain condition for 5.5 years in order to not have to attend middle school and high school. I was placed on a homebound program, not homeschooling, and allowed to study at my own pace from home. I was able to fool a team of medical professionals, my family, my teachers, and my friends into believing that my symptoms were real. Also, I racked up over $100,000 in medical bills for my family. That's just what the insurance didn't cover, During those 5.5 years, I did not realize the extent of the medical bills until late into my lie, and it was one of the main reasons I decided enough was enough. Upon graduating from high school and getting accepted into a good university, I decided that it was time for my pain to go away. No one has questioned the fact that my symptoms vanished overnight. My medical team attributed it to the fact that I was nearing the end of puberty. What I did was a douchebag thing, and my family is continuing to drown in debt for medical bills. I plan to pay them back someday. I simply started the hoax because I was a 12-year-old who absolutely loathed middle school. I attempted to end the lie at the beginning of every school year, but eventually fell back into saying my pain prevented me from attending school. Today I feel horrible about what I did, and I desperately want to tell everyone that it was a lie, but I know that I cannot because I will never gain credibility back again. Snuck into my dad's bedroom and tased him with a 1 million volt taser. He started flailing around and knocked it out of my hand. Ran out of the house and drove off. Police were called, taser was collected, and I assume fingerprints were recovered. His dumbass has no idea it was me and thinks someone broke into his house just to tase him. I lit a tree on fire for kicks, and ended burning half a forest down, and several homes went up in flames in the process. I wanted to say I did that when I saw it on the news. My boyfriend at the time cheated on me, and the girl he cheated with made a point of going around and telling everyone in our little town. It humiliated me. I made a fake Facebook account pretending to be a boy, added her and talked to her for 8 months, becoming her confidant. She told me all her secrets. I then got to the stage where I asked her to send me naked pictures, and she did. The pictures got put all over town, along with print screens of her secrets and message. She got kicked out of school, her family disowned her. It ruined her life. She got so much abuse over it she had to move to a different town, where last I heard she's unemployed and living in a dump because her parents disowned her and she has no money of her own. She has no idea who the boy really was. I don't regret it one bit. All I know about management I learned in maximum security. When I was 15 I did a lot of dumb shit, like a lot of us do when we're invincible and don't know better. Even though I lived in an upper middle class neighborhood, I stole, robbed, boosted cars, did drugs and got into lots of dumb situations just for the adrenaline. Accessory to murder. In the winter of '92, when my crew, really just 3 idiot 15-year-olds, 2 guys and 1 girl, held up a motel in the dead of night. We agreed not to load our weapons. My buddy is holding the gun to the night clerk's face, demanding the money. He wouldn't hand over the money and my buddy is getting more and more agitated. Suddenly, something outside spooked my buddy and he pulled the trigger. It was loaded. I refuse a plea deal. I was offered a 4-year plea deal if I would rat on the other 2. I was young and in love with the girl, so I refused to rat. The 4-year deal turned into 17 years in federal prison. On the inside, I read lots of religious texts, business and psychology books, basically anything I could get my hands on. I became a personal trainer. I completed high school, and then got my MCSE certification. Prison literally changed my life, and it was the best school I could get at the time. And boy, did I reform. In 2007 I was released and said I'm never going back there. I applied at a bunch of random jobs, figuring nobody would hire me anyway. Even Starbucks does a background check in these days. The only job I could get was as a freelance personal trainer for this seedy gym that was okay with hiring ex-cons. The pay was shit, but it let me work out for free and earn enough money to buy a computer and iPhone. I finally get to see real technology. Remember, I went away in 1992 before cell phones and the internet were commonplace. What you could do with a tiny computer in your pocket was literally magical to me. When I went away, we still dialed in on modems to AOL and all of that shit, and now I could instantly see anything I wanted from a tiny device. It was like a caveman seeing fire for the first time. The possibilities lit up my imagination. I had to do a lot of catching up to do, so I did 2 years in community college and studied really hard, ignoring everything else in my life so I could successfully complete my Cisco certification the next year. I applied for thousands of jobs. In 2009 I finally said fuck it, and started applying to tech jobs. I blasted out over 1,000 resumes like a fire hose. I started with a tiny tech company that was growing but didn't have a lot of money at the time. I was a lifesaver for them. I could do the work for 1/10 the cost of most other Cisco certified engineers. Because of this they didn't know or didn't care to do a background check. They just needed someone to solve their technical problems right now, and they didn't have $150,000 to spend. The company explodes. The company exploded over 18 months and I moved up from tech support to management as we could hire more people. Since I was an early employee I was given founder's stock. I started leading a small team, then a larger team, then 100. I am promoted to COO simply because I knew the technology and the business inside and out.